Hello. Might get rain. Be nice. So there's all the noodles from yesterday's video. There's those guys that came out of a water boiler. Stainless steel walls it had. So somebody requested to watch me take some smalls apart, so that's what I'm doing right now. Those buckets. So bear with me. I'll get you in the tripod. I got too much crap in here. The computers are all right there. Gotta find a new home for them. Yeah. Well, a little bit cooler than yesterday. Yanking these guys apart. They're cooling fans or whatever for microwaves. Yes, they are all considered smalls. I take everything apart. You got your iron aluminum. Goes in the iron aluminum bucket. Extruded aluminum. Where are you? Can't see if we're looking at you. Little clip. Push it down. It holds the bearing in place. And it lost the bearing again. Sometimes they're brass. They might look like brass. Here, you can see it better in my hand. But majority of the time, they are not. See? So what I popped off was that little steel thing what held the bearing in. Take that clip off, you got clean extruded plastic on the other side. See, I'm getting ripped off again. You put it in your extruded bucket. Now we have little bits of copper, and we'll find out if this guy is copper or aluminum. Sometimes the colored ones are aluminum. Sometimes. We'll find out in a sec. They just slide right out with a little convincing. Little chunk of steel in the middle there. Pull it out. Makes it easier to take this apart. I just pull it out with the pliers. That's all it is. It's shred steel. I gotta be able to get it in the bucket though. So now, this is pretty light, so I'm guessing it's aluminum. Generally when they're a pink or red color, they are aluminum. Just pull them off. It's too late to put it in the aluminum or in the motor bucket, so I strip it down. Aluminum wire takes a lot to make a few pounds, but sometimes you just come across and you got to do that. See how easy it breaks. Yeah, there's a lot wound on these little spools. They're the little blower motors you find in microwaves. With a fan attached to them. Usually beside it or what they're attached to it. And it's plastic in this end. So. Yeah, just a nice little ball of aluminum, that's all it is. Chinesium, whatever you want to call it. And if you're not 100% sure if it's aluminum or copper, you can tell by the weight, and it's very light, so that's how I tell. So it's got a bucket all its own. So now these guys got the little copper chunks on there. I take everything off. I don't throw that in the shred. Why would you, right? I know it's not going to get rich off of it. But that's like throwing, you might as well just throw your insulated copper wire in the bucket. This is number 2 wire, so. Like it's not insulated. And see, it comes out very easily. You throw it in your wire bucket, right? Your number 2 wire. Non-insulated. I always cut the opposite side that it's soldered. Sometimes the solder is stuck to the steel. And you just gently force it out. See? Whole chunk. Now that's just shred. Lots of those. Then you got your microwave motors. I usually just pop them open with the hammer. Like that. There's lots of crap in them. The copper you want is always at the bottom. There it is. You got little brass tidbits there. It generally comes right off. Yeah, you want to go up the other way. That's fine. Come out wherever you are. See? A couple nice little brass tidbits. In the bucket they go. There's your copper. I generally cut it in half. Sometimes it'll snap and separate. And just like that, you have your copper out of a microwave turntable motor. No, it's not poundage. And then the rest is shred in plastic. See how simple that was? I don't know what that is. And the plastic goes in the garbage, or wherever you feel like putting it. I'd like to put it all in a blue box, but as I've told everybody before, our blue box company around here doesn't do it all. So that's what I'm working on. Shred. Or shred. Oh, like this. That's a motor out of a probably a dishwasher. Now to get the cast clean off of there, it's got a little clip inside here. It's a snap ring tool. Well, I think wherever they make these, it's a different type of snap ring tool than the one you can buy in the store. But I have a snap ring plier set, and right here, but none of the points fit into these holes. So I take it off with a screwdriver. I don't care if the clip's broken, it's got to come apart, right? So now you got a bearing to deal with. And lay it on its side. Come on. Get it locked in there. Not always that bearing comes off like that. You usually end up busting the part that holds the bearing, you know. But hey, that came off, so now that's clean cast aluminum. In your aluminum bucket. This is irony aluminum because it's got a lot of aluminum on it with some iron. It takes it out as that. So that's why I don't throw it in my shred bucket. Bearing this goes in the shred bucket. There you have it. Two items. Like I got a bucket full of smalls to do. Something like that. That was a fan. That's a chunk of aluminum. Can't throw it in the aluminum bucket with the plastic on it. Mind you, it is probably melted on there, but hey, if you bust the plastic off, like I did, it's a nice solid chunk of aluminum. Make sure there's no steel on it. Sometimes they sneaky and put a bearing inside, but this one did not, so yeah, extruded aluminum is where that goes. See, it took 2 seconds or whatever to do that. That's where it helps to have a vise. Plug-ins. 3 prongers. It's all brass. Pull it out nice and easy. You get a little bit of copper on there. Copper goes in your number 2 copper bucket. Because around here, to be bare bright or number 1, it has to be heavier. So there you go. That's clean brass in your brass bucket. Sure, it's got a little silver coating on it, but my yards take it as clean brass. You can leave the copper on it because it doesn't matter, right? But I put the copper in my copper bucket. I know it doesn't weigh much. And this one's usually the tricky one. Sometimes you get the whole thing out and sometimes you don't, see? So. And on to the next one. Simple, simple. You get the older plugs, they don't have this coating on them. And I like to take that little bit of plastic off of there. See, nice clean copper, eh? Every once in a while you do check to make sure that it is brass and not steel. Put a magnet to it, right? I've come across, not a lot, but once in a blue moon, that these things are steel. I don't know, see, that one came all the way out. There. In the garbage. Because you stripped it. Little bits of copper, go in the copper bucket. It's not a lot, ain't gonna get you rich. But I look at it this way. You put everything in their proper place. Copper goes in the copper bucket, brass in the brass bucket, you know, aluminum, copper, stainless, shred, whatever. Then we have these guys. They're not that hard to rip apart. The brass is already coming out of it. There, see, that's a chunk of brass. Boom. This is actually stainless. You can pop that off. It's just crimped on there. Like that. Put your stainless. It might be slight attracting, but otherwise not. Stainless steel bucket. I know, heaven forbid you touch these. You don't break them. The newer microwaves, that's not beryllium anymore. It's just ceramic. Just snap them open like that. Screwdriver. Shred bucket. One magnet comes off right off the bat. Steel from taking it apart earlier. Yeah, everybody knows I have a magnet hoard. I'm a sick person. Add it to my hoard. I bend these open. Give it a yank. That's copper that just came out. In case some of you don't realize what it is. Another magnet. And the magnet hoard. I pull these through. Don't cut them, just pull them all the way through. That one broke. You got to get that other piece of steel off of there. There it is. And then I generally just pop them open on the back side. you can get all the copper right to the core. So now he is this empty little piece of shred. Got some 2 nice pieces of copper out of there. Number 2 bucket, of course. Aluminum sheet. Whichever side extrudes the most, that's what I put in my vise. Clamps it down, you're nowhere near that item. Screwdriver, pop them off. You can do these by hand too. Sometimes these just fall off, but it's all sheet aluminum. Don't forget the old magnet test. I've come across one of these before and it was steel. It was galvanized actually. I was quite surprised. And that would be cheap. I think anyways. Do one at a time. Don't get too much in a hurry. Then you're just fighting everything, right? And the last one, of course, you got it clamped in the vise, so you just turn it around, lock it in, it should pop right out. Flathead screwdriver. There we go. Nice little whack of sheet aluminum. Here's my sheet aluminum bucket. Bury you. Good. So now you're left with this guy. That is a big chunk of copper. Since we have it here, I might as well do it up right away, right? Can you see that all right? Sawzall. Lots of copper filings. Okay, so we cut the one end off. There's a little piece of tin in there. But that is, I'll get the magnet and show you. That is tin, see? So is that. I don't know how it's crimped together somehow. I haven't figured out. We're taking the time to actually see how hard it would be to get that uncrimped. I find this works pretty good. Fairly decent blade on your Sawzall. Let your vise help you out. It's your friend. See? Because it doesn't have a lot of support anymore, right? Tin really holds it. I'm just trying to get it off with as much copper as I can. See, it does peel open, but didn't leave much copper behind. That is a chunk of copper on the end there that's pinched like that. That's what holds that little stick that goes through the middle. This little guy right here. Well, he's not going to come out this time. is attached. Usually it's a little stick of copper. But anyways, number 2 copper. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's got some good weight to it too. And that's magnetron. So that's it. That didn't take very long. I did quite a few items. So yeah, copper number 2 bucket. It's getting pretty heavy. I took a couple transformers apart. But I have that bucket to do, and this one with all the smalls. Somebody asked about this. The easiest way I find for taking these apart, stick it in a vise sawzall right beside the blades, and they'll bend right out, and they might take the copper that's in there with them. Not all the time, but just stick it in your bench vise, because, yeah. You can cook these in your wood stove or whatever, but sawzall right beside the blade. Now see, the hydro wire is going to go this way. So if you stay on the outside, kinda, and you just peel them out. Here, I'll set it up and do it real quick. Since I have the sawzall out anyways. These might even come out being so warm out. Come on, baby. See? Nice chunk of solid brass. See how loose they are already? I've cut a little close on that one. And this one's going to bring the copper with it. Come on. There we go. See? Got nice strands of copper there. It's not soldered, so it's not going to be dirty. Brass in there, copper in there. You just need this guy yet. Boom. See, it didn't take long. It's all brass. A little bit of copper left in there. I see that now. From that prong right there. Well, we're going to get that out of there. Otherwise, you throw the whole thing in the shred bucket. Right? Nope, it's not going to come out. It just wants to keep cutting. Okay, should go in the shred bucket then. And there you have it. A little bit of copper. Just like that. Simple. You got the 4 prongs of brass out of there, which is what you wanted. I apologize for how wavy yesterday's video was. It's because my tripod was sitting on the pallet. I'll show you. I know I looked like I was on drugs according to Keith Rowe. See, the table was here and that pallet, well, it's all, so it was vibrating, jiggling through it. That's why it looked like I was on drugs. But they're all done. I cleaned up my mess. I have to cut those up yet. But yeah, got laundry out in line. Hey, free is better. Oh, speaking of free is better, welcome back. Good to see you back on the internet again. Cassie and Sean, and Little Man, and Fat Cat. So, anyways, and happy birthday to, I do believe it's Cassie's birthday coming up. So, there you have it, smalls. And then they get distributed where they belong. Right? So, yes. Get some more of them. That. It's actually stuff you should leave for the winter time so you can get the other stuff done. I can work on these, but we're not going to bother. Maybe this afternoon. Or just start working on all them plugs and get them done. Okay, I've held you captive long enough. Like, subscribe, and share or not. Have a nice day.